there, treasure hunters. I'm Gina, mother, teacher, crocheter, theater directing, antique and vintage reseller, wearing the most amazing overalls you've ever seen. So join me as I learn, shop, buy, and sell all the fantastic things while I'm living on Tulsa time. All right, and as promised from the beginning clip, we are going to take a look at the glass vault. Now, there is another video that I posted that goes into more depth about the difference between Vaseline glass and uranium glass. So go ahead and hop in and take a look at that. But one of the things I want to show you is check this Vaseline glass out. When you pull it out of the case, it glows just as neon as it does when it is under the UV light. And all these pieces were absolutely fantastic. And I just wanted to give you guys a little pan. The juicers down there, how fun is that? Now, I don't necessarily recommend using them as juicers, but as a display, they're totally fine. I love cream and sugars. I actually have a collection of them. And these up here with the light etching were just so beautiful. And when the light hits them like that, the UV glow, it adds kind of like an out of this world dimension. And I love the different shapes. And this vendor does a fantastic job. Oh my God, look at that one. Look at the shape of that one. So cool. He does a great job of finding great pieces, and he sources from all over the country, and he's constantly refilling and selling his items. Like, look at that giant piece of slag glass. That is insane. I would love to have that. But again, I'm broke. I don't have $200 to spend. I did have some cadmium glass. I sold it, la-di-da. I did keep some marbles. I have a couple of vintage marbles that glow stowed away somewhere in my house. But this slag glass piece right here, I think that's custard glass. And it is very reactive because you can see the reflection is hitting it. Now, this piece right here, this hacienda, I am obsessed with it. I kind of want to collect that one. I kind of might go back and see if that's in my budget. I couldn't quite make the maker out on the bottom. I tried my best. I'm not great at camera angles and whatnot because I'm filming with one hand and I'm, nervous about people looking at me weird, but I'm getting better about that. The tie back there was two in there, so I don't know why someone would just buy one, but they did. And look at this. It says from mother, and I love that. I believe those are Fenton. The ashtrays are fantastic. There are tons of people out there collecting ashtrays, and what a great combination. I had to stop by and take a look at this booth. I've been kind of into some silver lately, and these are not sterling silver, but they were cute nonetheless, and I loved the tray. And then I noticed that they had quite the collection of clear glass, and I am a big fan of clear glass, and I tried to do a full clear glass setup in my booth, but it didn't really sell. I don't think people are out there looking for clear glass items, but I love them. They are so versatile. You can do so many different things with them. I love this tumble up though. I kind of want one because I always like to have a glass of water next to my bed, and this way it won't spill and won't get little dusties and things in it. But I thought that was kind of cute. I love a tumble up. I've always wanted one. But yeah, I like clear glass, and a lot of people don't, and it's kind of a shame because there's so many fantastic different types of clear glass out there, and there's a lot of interesting things to learn about clear glass. Like some of the antique clear glass, if you leave out in the sun too long, will start to get this purple color, and then I know some people even try to quicken that process, and there's a lot of vintage glass collectors that don't like that, and they call that sick glass. But either way, to each their own. Okay, I want to take a second to talk about things like this where people are recycling, upcycling, repurposing vintage glass and other thrift store finds. part of me, I'm not a super big fan of it. I kind of took a look at these, and you can see I reached over at one point to see if it was actually cut glass, and it wasn't. It was kind of a reproduction pressed. So you know what? I think they did a pretty good job. So they didn't waste anything valuable. So one of the confessions I have to make is I always have to stop and look at mugs, and I always buy mugs. I love mugs. I don't know why I love mugs so much. It's kind of a problem. So if you are also a mug collector, let me know. Maybe we can share a mug collection. Maybe I have some mugs that you're interested in. I don't know. But I do love a good mug. And I also love this acorn vessel as well. It was kind of an interesting shaped nappy. Look how cute the cream and sugar set is. And it had the lid. I am a sucker for cream and sugars. You know what I'm not a big sucker for is baskets. I can see the appeal because it's a container, but I don't necessarily see the desire of Lonenberger or whatever it's called. I wanted to take a closer look at this because I do like the style of painting on it. And that was by Barbara, and Barbara killed it. I'm sorry, those birds are great. And then I got a tickle because I have some of those nut things, those wood nut things. It was crazy. I don't know what to do with them. I probably should sell them. I did find this McCoy out in the wild, which was super exciting, but that's not the one that I found. And then these Annalise things are kind of creepy, but in a cute way, but still creepy. Then we come to a doll's head, because doll's heads are always creepy. But these things right here, and I know this was, I believe, like a late 70s. I don't know. But why are they naked, and why don't they have genitalia? That never sat well with me. Mini picture collection. I think if you're going to collect something, mini pictures and creamers is definitely the way to go. I have a collection of creamers that I have in display in my kitchen. I saw this sweet little pottery piece up on a high shelf, and I had to get a closer look because I love the color and I love the shape. The price was great, and it was because it was as is. The handle had some breakage and some repairs, but I'm honestly thinking about possibly picking that piece up later just because I don't mind things like that for my collection. I know other people don't really like to have any damaged items in their collection. I try to avoid it for resale, but for myself, I honestly don't mind. So this vendor used to be my neighbor, but then he moved into a bigger space, which I am okay with. I liked him being my neighbor, but I'm okay with him getting a bigger space. He's got good stuff. This box fan was fantastic. I love the handle. I love the color. Everything about it was great. I kind of want to pick that up for my house. And look at all this fun stuff on this shelf. Here we have a True Tone tube radio, probably from the 1940s, followed by some amber glass. And I was trying to see if this basket would have any stamps, because usually the maker had their initials stamped where the handle's attached to the basket, but no such luck. The yo-yos were great. I love seeing a good yo-yo, and I believe this is Indiana glass, but I'm not sure. So somebody did an aftermarket addition to these and added some backing with that really bright 70s felt, but that is not how they originally come. Now, as we pan over the stuff in this case right here, a lot of this, not necessarily my wheelhouse because it's kind of just not things that I collect, but I was checking them out anyway, and I was like, hey, yo, what's up? But then there was a customer who wanted me to open that case, and he actually informed me a lot about tobacco pipes. And we had a really lovely conversation where he explained the different types of wood and how some of them can become cracked. And that was kind of cool to hear or to get a lesson about something that I didn't know about, but I know is highly collectible. And that's kind of one of the reasons I like participating in the antique and vintage world, is because there's so many fun things to learn about and to talk about, and just to kind of get to meet different types of people. But this particular booth is, again, more towards the mantiques, and I like that. I like that it's appealing to everybody, not just ladies liking the Bridgerton-esque aesthetic, and it has a little bit of everything. The Homer Laughlin Brittany Majestic, available at Woolworths forever, and I feel like this is the most ubiquitous Homer Laughlin pattern. This one is from 1945. It is similar to the one that I'm looking for, but not quite. Another thing that I'm looking for is subscribers to my YouTube channel, and I'm looking for some likes on this video, a little bit of love. I don't know, maybe a comment or two. So you know what to do, and I would be very thankful if you would do all those things, especially if you're kind of enjoying my content, enjoying my crazy banter. I've got a lot more bizarre things to share, like how I absolutely love this toolbox. Part of me wants to get this toolbox to use as a display in my booth for some vintage jewelry, because I would love the juxtaposition of like the gritty, dirty toolbox, but then like the bright, sparkly brooches. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Should I pick that up or not? I also really dug this globe right here, and I was kind of looking to see if I could date it, because I know that if you look at certain countries, you can tell the age because maybe a country existed or didn't exist. But I was having a hard time focusing, so I didn't really get it figured out, especially since the booth across from me is bright yellow and had this adorable chair. I kind of checked out pretty quick and was like, I want that chair. Ooh, wait, look at that swan. Could this be Sooner Glass? I don't know. I know there is, I don't think that is Sooner Glass, but I know that Sooner Glass is very popular for those swans. I don't see it as much as I see the Frankoma pottery, which I think is interesting. But this glass is also very interesting because even though it is a McDonald's collectible, the glass is actually from France. It's a pretty high quality glass. And so I highly recommend if you collect McDonald's things in glass, bada bing, bada boom. I went through looking at the clothes, hoping to find some vintage pieces. Nothing was really vintage. A lot of it was just kind of resale things, but they were all very cute, but not the vintage that I look for, especially since I use a lot of the items that I find in costuming for my plays. Finding some old pieces is absolutely key for me. Okay, so we got to stop and talk about this vintage Tupperware. It is beyond 80s and super cute. I've picked this up a couple of times. I can't figure out where it's from. It's definitely mid-century modern ashtray. Definitely looks like American pottery. I think it might be Californian. Does anyone know? So I really think this is Fenton because I picked it up and I thought maybe the hobnails were very pointy, which is kind of a telltale sign of Fenton glass. Then I got distracted by the Tupperware coasters, and then I got distracted by the things down here. And then I got distracted by these right here. And I was like, oh, those are super cute. And one had a chip. And I was like, are those glass? I had to pick it up. Is that glass? Nope. It was plastic. That was crazy. What is this guy? He looks like a character from a Star Wars movie, but I believe he's Egyptian. He is funking out of this world. I don't even know what to think about him other than he's cute. Now we're coming up to my dear friend's booth. She is actually the co-owner of the Wandering Magpie Antique Mall, and I love all these things. This doll right here, girl can never keep her dress closed, or like keep her nightgown closed. Meemaw, like why? She's a hoot and a half. I like the curio cabinet. The glass was busted out, so she went ahead and took all the glass out, which makes it a fantastic piece for an antique mall. And then this right here, I have so many jokes about this picture and why is this person gesturing with this over it face? I love a good over it face and some vintage things. I really like this ship painting. My friend did a fantastic job of like positioning everything. It makes me want to buy everything in her booth. I think that I might have to walk out with this elephant cup right here. I was going to put him in my pocket, you know, maybe a little 5-finger discount, but that owl was watching and so is Jesus. And we know Jesus is a snitch, so I didn't steal anything. You're welcome. All right, so down here we have this awesome chip and dip set. I think this is Matlock's, but part of me wants to think it might be McCoy, But I love this. Look at the texture of this California pottery piece. That is something I've never seen before. That's pretty unique. I might have to pick that up just because I've never seen it before. I'm not sure what that is right there. My guess is somebody tried to do a craft project. All right, so when we go to this one right here, this middle cabinet, I really like this snake. I think he's from Japan. But then I was like, oh, look, cheese and crackers, cheese and crackers. You know that she's my friend when she has a shelf just devoted to cheese. So that, you know, is a ride or die. Cheese is all things. Also, I love this nylock piece. Nylock, I don't know. But either way, I do like it. I'm not a fan of the wood color, I'm going to be honest, but the shape is fantastic and I like the inner glaze. The price is also very nice, but my resistance is I don't like the wood. It doesn't really fit into my aesthetic when it comes to pottery. What would fit into my aesthetic is this Mikasa tea set. Look at how pretty the birds are, and so you can buy it piece by piece or you can get the whole set. I think that's great. This right here, I was like, man, I know this is something. Again, if there's something that you know what it is and I don't, please tell me in the comments. Some of my favorite things to do is to learn about pottery, so anything you could share would be great. And kind of swinging around this way, I saw this bunny. I was like, oh my gosh, this bunny is super cute. It is from the 1980s. I might have to get this mug just because I like the little bunny butt. But then I was very drawn to this Dutch windmill tile back here. It looks like it's transferware, but I really do kind of like it. It's a great trivet. I like good trivets. I'm always like trivet instead of pivot. You know, Ross is always like pivot, and I'm always like trivet. But that's what I think when I hear the word trivet. Hello, is anyone there? The 1970s is calling and they want their phone back. Or it might be 80s, I don't know. But it was still pretty cool. For me, this is a little bit more my style when it comes to vintage. These are like some 80s, 90s pieces. And she does very well, especially with her mama clothes. I am so jealous of this right here. I want one of these, but they are very expensive when you do find them. And what in the world is the Gold Master? And she's got some great jewelry. So I hopefully will see you guys soon checking out this booth. Okay, we have this adorable Maddox ceramic flamingo vase. I was obsessed. I was like, oh my gosh, please be a good price. Please be a good price. Because you know I'm a broke girl. And she knew what she had. These next items are pieces of Duncan chess piece from the 1960s. They were really cute. And you know your girl spotted some hull. And I picked it up and I looked at it and it was in perfect condition. And I was kind of skeptical about whether or not it was a reproduction, but I really think it might be legit. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. I don't have this one. I don't really have any that's not damaged. I put it down. I looked at the price. And again, I was reminded that I'm a broke girl. But over here we have some milk glass. And I do have a pitcher just like this Westmoreland one. And another one, 2 of them for sale, in fact. And I have them both priced at, checking, $25. That's pretty much what I have. So I think I'm pretty spot on for the market. Not a big fan of these books, but that's okay. I know not everything is people's cup of tea. This right here I thought was kind of cool, but it definitely was contemporary. It looked rushed. It didn't have the same quality as older pieces tend to. Next up, we have my booth, which this one in particular, I'm kind of struggling with the placement. I have so many different items that I want to share with people that I don't really quite know how to do my vibe. Do I have a theme? Do I not have a theme? So I just kind of brought some things that I think are pretty great that I want to share with people. I really try to have a rhyme and a reason, but as you can see, I don't. I am proud of my yarn, my crochets with the kitten. I do like that display. I've tried to group things that are similar as far as like color scheme or similar as far as style. So kind of, you know, some antique-y looking, very floral, feminine, Victorian stuff, my coffee mugs. But like I said, I just kind of have a mishmash of things. So I try to have everything displayed in various ways and don't want to overclutter. But I am proud to tell you I did sell one of my crochet blankets. That made me extremely happy. I tried to play cool whenever I was checking her out, but I was excited. But this is a little preview. At one point, I ventured to the back of the antique mall to check out this booth, and there was this wash stand right here. And what you're not seeing is that I actually kind of like broke it a little bit. It popped out of place, and I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I put it back in. Everything was okay, but I was sweating bullets just a little bit. And then I was looking at these cute little trinkets on the shelf, and I pulled this little girl off, and she was so cute. And I took a look, and I thought $16. I don't even think as a collector that's kind of a steep price. Maybe the vendor knows something about her that I don't, but $16 seems a little steep. So today I'm going to end this video by saying thank you so much for joining me as we look at some fantastic 80s earrings that I had sent over from California to me from my fantastic friends. Go check out their eBay store, The Decorator Crab. They have fantastic items and they also sell on Knickknacks. So if you're not on Knickknacks, make sure you sign up and check out the fantastic live sales that are there. I appreciate you guys watching today. Thanks. And remember, if you feel stupid, you're doing it right.